Here. Here. Okay, it's not on. That's as loud as it goes.
Why can't it? Is it on loud?
Yep.
Is it be?
Yep. Maybe you want your iPad.
There's nothing there.
It's not on.
Good. All right. Would you all join us for the Pledge of Allegiance, please?
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, and to the republic which stands one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Right. Thank you all. So with that, we'll call the June 7th Select Board meeting of the town of Damariscotta to order. We are absent one member tonight. Josh Pinkham is out with a game, so he doesn't have to get that big warrant going, so we're good. All right, well, we can move right in. We have some housekeeping and whatnot, so we do have some minutes. Everybody had a chance to look at the minutes of the 24th and the 17th. We all good there? All right. Nope.
Just see the correction Tom had proposed.
I don't know what happened to that form.
Disappeared.
Oh, okay. Was there a, yeah, I didn't see it. Which one was that referencing?
Tom had noticed and proposed just a small amendment to the, I think it was underneath the public hearing for the provider agencies, the Hardy Root.
Oh, okay.
Just needs to read 1 in 4 children in Maine.
Oh, gotcha. That was on the 17th. Okay.
Yeah.
It was, all right. So that's all set. Okay. All right. Do I hear a motion? We can move these both at once. If Tom, if you want to
Yeah,
make the
I'll
motion
make
as
a motion
amended.
that we approved April 24th minutes as well as the May 17th minutes.
Okay. Thank you, Tom. Andrea, you second? Any discussion? All those in favor? All right, minutes are moved. We have okay, some financials today. Payroll warrant 55. Anybody, everybody's good with that? Yep. I'll move payroll warrant 55.
Second.
Blue seconds. Any discussion? All those in favor? All right, motion carries. And I'll move accounts payable 56 as well. Andrea seconds. Any discussion? All those in favor? All right, motion carries. So Andy, any citizens comments? Anything come in snail mail or anything for us?
Nothing I can recall.
Nothing exciting. Okay, yeah. I don't see any hands up on the Zoom there. Anybody in the crowd out here? No, nobody. Yeah, all right, we're good. So we'll move right into some.
Talk a little slower today.
No, I know. I'm trying to stretch it out a little bit.
He wants to be over here.
Give me one of these. Give me one of these. So Andrew, would you like to regale us with capital project updates, please?
Sure. So the first
Good
one on
list
the
here.
list is Miles Street.
Yeah.
The project is probably 99.5% complete.
Yeah.
I don't think Neil might know, they had one more area they had a hydro seed. I don't think they've gotten to that part yet. But otherwise everything's pretty well buttoned up in there. We are in discussion right now with a couple of the folks at the hospital about the possibility of actually getting some lights up this summer.
Okay.
There might be some lights on campus that they might be able to utilize. So
Oh,
we're working through
interesting.
that. But otherwise,
Yeah.
the project as it was presented or put out there is
Yeah.
pretty well finished.
It looks
Looks
good.
great.
It's nice.
Awesome.
There
Yeah.
are 150 years from now.
Yeah.
That's solid.
No, it's nice to see that getting buttoned up. That looks really good. Yeah. So then we can
Perfect.
next go around, get focused on the upper section. But
That's right.
That's great to get that causeway done. Boy, what a difference. So great.
Egypt Road is also pretty well complete. There's just some shoulder work to get done. I think that's, if I understood correctly, the truck is scheduled, I believe, for potentially next week. I know we talked last week with them. He said they were 2 weeks out, so that should be moving along soon. Otherwise, my understanding is the rest of it's finished.
Mhm.
And they've been focusing on Belvedere Road the last couple of days, doing some ditch work out there. We had some culverts sent out. And paving on that, once the ditching gets finished, should be able to come along shortly after that. So
Any speed complaints
on those
So-
particular roads? Actually, I mean, honestly, that's been something that I've been talking with the chief about. We've
Yeah.
just been noticing just in the news generally and around town here is just speeding in general is it's happened. It's just a lot more frequent, it seems. Good weather, smoother roads.
roads.
Everyone's in a hurry to get somewhere, but just kind of calling attention to the fact that we are seeing more and more
Mhm.
speeding accidents happen this time of year, and they might just try and do a little more publicity on that and probably crack down a little more on warnings and tickets if need be.
Yeah,
So
yeah,
Well, and these,
absolutely.
I mean, the accidents that we've had are just not acceptable.
No.
Yeah.
So
very,
we-
very
They're,
unfortunate.
they're preventable.
We had talked about the ditching and whether or not there was going to be additional expenses because of the switch from the milling and et cetera. So,
on shouldering,
yeah, shoulder, yeah.
Yeah.
shoulder material. Yep.
So,
There were some areas in the contract where it called for it explicitly, and some areas where it didn't, and we'll work that out with the engineer, with the contractor when we
okay,
look to apply it. So I know the engineer and the contractor are going back and forth, and that our understanding has been expressed to them of what's to be expected for that. So we'll work through that.
Can I interrupt you? I'm gonna interrupt you.
Okay,
Yeah.
let's
so-
do it.
All right, so I'm gonna cut Andy off here. We're gonna go, I'm gonna go rogue. Something that's not on the agenda tonight, but one thing that the board gets tasked with, which is an honor, is we're tasked with finding someone suitable for dedication of the town report. And it's always a fun thing to do because it allows the town to recognize somebody that's been involved with the town and for many, many years. And we like to be able to recognize that. So with that, I'm going to call Mr. Fred Brewer up. And you want to take it from here?
Yep.
You good?
So this year's town report is dedicated to Bill Brewer. So it's been very difficult today to try and coordinate all of this. So. So I'm going to read the dedication. Dedication of the town report to William Brewer. The Brewer family has been a fixture in Damariscotta for many generations and heavily involved in the community. Bill is no exception. He has served on many boards and spearheaded numerous projects to improve the town and shape how it is today. Bill has always been a hard worker and dedicated to the town of Damariscotta and the surrounding communities. Bill graduated from Lincoln Academy with the class of 1964 and attended Bentley College to study accounting. While he was in Boston going to school, he drove a taxi and cleaned at the Prudential Center. He even had the opportunity to put the parquet floor down in the Boston Garden. He was known to drive cars up from Boston for local car dealerships when he came home. He was one of the first graduates from Bentley's Waltham campus. After graduating from Bentley College with his degree in accounting, he passed a certification exam and became a CPA in 1972. He started working for Willard Sprague and Bath as a CPA and had the opportunity to purchase the firm when Willard retired. In the early 1970s, he started performing municipal audits after the state auditor stopped performing those audits. Bill's favorite audit was always Damariscotta's. He always liked giving Jim Fuller his copy of the audit to review. He has also worked with many businesses and individuals within and around the town of Damariscotta. He has given them guidance and helped them grow and flourish through his 50 plus years as a CPA. One of the first organizations that he joined was the Massasoit Engine Company in 1969. Currently serves as the treasurer for the organization, but has held many roles during his years as a member. He was chief from 1991 to 2000 and worked to improve the insurance service rating of the town. He was able to bring the score down from a 9 to a 7.6. This lower rating saves taxpayers on their homeowners insurance policies. While he was chief, he facilitated the purchase of 5 apparatus and construction of the current fire station on Massasoit Drive. From the purchase of the land on Biskie Road to the construction of the building, Bill oversaw it all. He was so proud of his granddaughter Bailey as she starts the 5th consecutive generation of the Brewers family membership in the Massasoit Engine Company. Bill Brewer joined the Damariscotta Newcastle Lions Club in February of 1971, sponsored by Walter Gallant. In his 52 years of continuous membership, he has served in virtually all of the officers' positions and chaired many projects. He is a longtime member of the club's board of directors. He has been involved at the district level, assisting clubs across central Maine. For years, he has served as the bake master for the annual lobster bake for the club. He was honored with the Melvin Jones Fellowship, one of the highest awards a Lion can receive. Since its inception in the early 1980s, Bill has been on the board of the Great Salt Bay Sanitary District. He's one of the longest standing board members of the Great Salt Bay Sanitary District and has been its treasurer from the start. He was instrumental in the takeover of the water division from Maine Water, construction of the sewer system in the early 1980s, replacement of the water main from the tank on Academy Hill Road through town to the Miles campus, and various other projects to improve water quality for Great Salt Bay Sanitary District customers. For the town of Damariscotta, Bill has served on various committees. He is currently on the finance committee for the town. He was on the building committee for the current town office and fire station. He served as the co-chair of the sesquicentennial celebration in 1998. Bill currently serves as a treasurer for the Lincoln County Historical Society. He joined that board shortly after LCHA received the Chapman Hall House. Preservation of the Chapman Hall House's property has been the focus of Bill and his wife Dean's time as they have worked to raise funds to help preserve this community treasure. Bill has also served on many boards of nonprofit organizations over the years. He was on the Miles Hospital Board in the 1980s, Pembroke Watershed until it was absorbed by Coastal Rivers Conservation Trust. He even helped Myron Cummings drive the ambulance, which was actually the dual-purpose hearse, prior to the establishment of the Central Lincoln County Ambulance Service. There are so many other things that Bill has done for the community to list. His pride and sense of community shows with everything he's involved with. The town of Damariscotta is grateful for all that he has done for the community. Thank you.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Yeah, yeah.
So I can get a picture.
Yeah, no. So, yeah. Wrong about. The single ceremonial duty. I get. Oh, thank you. So. Thank you. Thank you. Well, no speech? No speech. Oh.
I did not expect it.
Well, I'll have to say on behalf of the board, we're honored to be able to present that dedication to you, and the credit goes here to your protege, Fred. He put that together and did an amazing job, and we're very. It's a hard thing to do. So yeah. I have to say, this is one of the most rewarding things we get to do is recognize somebody locally, and it's just it's always a great moment. So, thank you, Bill.
Thank you.
Thank you. Oh, everybody's more than welcome to stay to move into business. We gonna follow up with that. How? Yeah.
I'm gonna follow up with
Yeah.
parking lot.
If folks that came in, if you don't mind, just sign the sign up sheet there if you didn't get your name on there, so we can record everything for you. But and oh, good, Becky's passing out copies, so awesome. Thank you. Yeah. Oh, that's great. It's a long list of accomplishments.
Mhm.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Oh, see that.
It's the hearse, yeah, it wasn't the Gray Ghost, it was an old Plymouth.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just a little.
Yeah.
Well,
Well, we'll pick
Continue?
up where you left off.
Yeah.
Whenever you're ready. Yeah.
Um,
So,
progress with the parking lot improvements. So we're working through the sanitary district, has asked their attorneys just to review the grant documents,
For the
just to
grant document.
understand
Yep.
kind of the liabilities and the acceptance and what does that mean from a grantor perspective, what are they obligating themselves to into the future? So
sure.
their attorneys did review it and they had just a few more questions on that. I'm going to try and coordinate a meeting with our contact to EDA to meet with the attorney. So that way,
Oh,
and
okay.
probably Max with MCOG, just
Yeah.
so we can hopefully bring this together.
Smooth out
soon.
any bumps. Yeah. Okay.
They were going
You think we're gonna get the money that we want?
to, separate question, but I don't know. I mean, they reduced the project scope
Oh.
when they came out of committee.
Right.
My understanding is it's probably likely to stay like that. Unless we want to go through the committee process again, requesting a change back. And we have a timeline to try and meet this project done by. It's a hard stop after 5 years from the award.
Yeah.
Which means we need to do it this fall.
we need to be able to get it out to bid this fall.
Okay.
So the intention here is to try and get something back to them, what they need back by the end of June to try and preserve a fall RFP
Yeah.
release.
Yeah. What little time we have. Yeah. So it's hard to believe it's been coming up on the deadline.
Coming up on 4, we'll have the ability to do one more extension.
Yeah. I know,
for
I
1
know.
year.
It's just, yeah.
So this is admittedly taking a little bit longer than all of us, I think, certainly anticipated to get through this step here.
I
So
think everybody, yeah, absolutely. And it's, yeah, but out of a control, that's the frustrating part, but it is what it is. So appreciate you keeping on it and keeping us informed, but it is what it is.
we're trying. Bill updates at the legislature. Just through a few, again, this is another email that comes out from
Mhm.
the representative on behalf of the Service Center Coalition, highlighting things that might be most relevant to us. I know one of the ones I don't think he talks much about in here is the LD 2003, the bill that passed last legislative session to increase housing opportunities, basically increasing density. And so that's been going through committee review, and there's been some proposed changes to that, mostly on the implementation date. As municipalities are asking, like, we still need time to be able to go through our town process to be able to approve changes to a land use ordinance. You don't just do it overnight without considering how this impacts other portions of your ordinance. So sounds like they're hearing that, and the proposal right now coming out of committee, I believe, was to highlight was what they were going to, I think, discuss either today or tomorrow, highlight the request for towns and cities that work on a city council to look at adopting this new law by January of 2024. So it puts it off by 6 months from
Right.
this July. In towns that run on especially on town meeting form of government like we do would be pushed off in another year, giving us time to go through our public
January
review
2025.
process. July of 2024. So a year,
July.
it's supposed to be July 1, 2023 is when every town's supposed to have
Right.
these changes made in their ordinances and be able to implement this. So given the state's requirements to do for towns like us, public notice, we've got our planning board needs to review. The board needs to then
Go through process,
review, call
yeah.
for a public hearing,
Public
do a
hearings.
special town meeting. So I mean, we're probably 3 months at a minimum
Mhm.
Yeah.
to be able to push something like that, implement something like that. So that's coming out of the work committee right now. And that's what I know MMA is advocating for, a little more time to be able to implement this right. And
Yeah.
understand how it ripples and affects other parts of our ordinance or ordinances. So
What was it? What was the LD number on that one again?
that was 2003 again
Yeah, this was from the previous year, right?
Right.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Okay.
I think with that, just a couple of things with Public Works. I know you've probably heard questions, or I know I've gotten a few questions about line striping. So for the last 2 Sundays, the contractor was set to come into town. 2 Sundays ago was a little busy being Memorial Day weekend. So they weren't able to do it then. And then last Sunday was a wash with the
Wow.
weather. So
Okay.
they are due again this Sunday to come in and hit both towns with the painting
Okay.
needs they have. We have. So our crew
That'd be
does
great.
was able to get the machine out. We're at a point now where we were able to get the machine out, get it ready. We got the paint in supply just the other day. The stencils have been looked through, so we'll be able to do stuff off of Main Street and start getting some of that. It's one of those processes for us. I mean, when you hook a 5-gallon bucket of paint to the machine, you want to try and use most of a bucket, and so we're trying to make sure we're at a point in our workflow to be able to get out and really do a good amount of painting.
Get it
So
done. Okay.
my intention is to have the contractor work from the bridge to the light at Bristol Road. There's 12 crosswalks I've identified for them to paint, mostly in the Main Street lane, and then the turn arrows at the Bristol Road light.
Okay. Yeah.
So we'll try that this year, and we'll
those
try and
high-
get the rest of it.
Those
as
high
we can.
traffic areas and stuff, we've got to make sure because we don't have the facilities for safety and whatnot. So yeah, that sounds good.
I mean, not in favor of putting our crew of 2 out in a road situation where we don't have enough flaggers.
Yeah.
And so try and get them off the high volume roads if we can. And
Yeah.
make it safer for them.
Sounds good.
Looking into the summer when we'd like to do some ditch work. And that was one of the things we included in increasing the budget for next year was to try and, there's a lot of shoulders around town. We were talking about the shoulders on the newly paved roads being high. Well, there's probably plenty more on our existing roads that are higher from just washout and needing to come back and put material in. So I think just trying to go and identify that, find ditches we need to dig out, make sure we got culverts ends found. And so we're just kind of working through what a work plan is and which ones we need to prioritize. To put in there as an example, I'd like to look and get some numbers for Chapman Street. There's a system down through there of driveway culverts and ditch that are level with the road in some areas.
Mhm.
So
Yeah.
that's one we'd like to do. In looking at where the flow goes as it gets to the apartments, it goes underneath that driveway. Apparently there's a series of ditch that run behind Hancock Lumber. Is that Hancock Lumber, right?
Yeah.
And runs into, I guess, where there was an old skating area, ice skating area,
So
pond
it must
back
have been the
there.
pond there. I was looking at the old skating rink and I was going to ask.
Comes out behind the grocery store there. So
Right.
since Hugh has been with us, he's dug it, worked on it twice. And so it's been a while since we've dug that out, probably 5-6 years anyways. And so it needs it. That
And
series of wetland back kind of through there. So I do have a call out to DEP to understand, is that something, I mean, are we okay to do that? Do we need to go through any permitting to do that? Explaining it's a historical ditch. Essentially, those basins have been discharging through there, from my understanding, for quite a while.
Yeah.
I just want to make sure we're doing that right. I don't know. I've been looking to see if we have any drainage easements through those properties. So if we don't, I'd like to see if we can get a proper drainage easement
Okay.
drafted.
Yeah.
That gives us the ability to get in there and do maintenance on that property under current ownership or future ownership.
Clear things up. So we're, Yeah.
So that's one that's probably, it's kind of turned into, it can still deal with the upper part of Chapman, but I'm a little cognizant of like putting that flow of water through there, making sure that it has somewhere to go without causing a problem for some of those owners in between. So that one might take a fair amount of time.
Yeah. Yes. There's a lot to it. Yeah.
Plenty of other areas as well. I think, if we can prioritize some shoulder work in the short term this summer, and we can work with our equipment that we have. We got the slide in sander. And if you're familiar with how we put salt on the sidewalks, a lot of times there's a little chute that comes off the side.
Yeah.
Instead of a back spreader, it comes off on the side. So
Corrects
I
it. Yeah.
think we'd be able to utilize that machine in places. We're not doing continuous miles. It's probably a lot of places where we have to get in, dump some, and then move along. So I think we can make that work. It's only 1.5 yards or so at a time. So it'll be slow going, but
We've talked about, I know that you put it in here too, that we've talked about, eventually having a public work department database and keeping track of roads, stuff like that. So in the meantime, like doing the ditch work now and stuff, are we able to keep track of that? Just, even if it's on paper at this
Mhm.
point, just so you have kind of rudimentary database that can be entered in later. Said, okay, this
Right.
culvert was done and that was
Yeah.
done at a certain time. So
yeah, particularly for culverts, having an inventory of when they went in, if we're
Yeah.
expecting to get 30+ years out of some of them. The metal ones, the standard was always kind of 30 years in a
Right.
well-maintained metal culvert. A lot of what we're putting in, if we can, is plastic.
Yeah.
So unless aren't at the right depth, or there's an accident that ruins the ends of them, I mean, they should last even longer than that.
Yeah, they should last a while. Yeah.
And so identifying where those are, or the material type, if there's big storm events that happen and it's under capacity, but Hugh has a template that I'd provided them that we can start working
Oh,
on.
great. Okay.
And then once we get the field data collected, put it into
Eventually,
spreadsheet.
eventually put it into a spreadsheet or something.
Yep.
So awesome, Andy. Thank you.
On Chapman Street, that new house that's going in shouldn't affect what's going on the road, right?
There's a driveway culvert there already.
Mm.
That drive's been there for some time. I think that house sits a little proud. I mean, it's in the middle of that hill, so I'm assuming it shouldn't have any real effect on the rest of it. Do you have concern on?
No, my concern was more all that runoff that happens up above it
Oh,
that really, across from, I don't know, the medical marijuana plant that down in there is always
mhm.
washing out into the road.
Yeah,
Oh,
that's one of our big trouble spots. There's a culvert that came out this winter. It was sitting proud of the road surface there, and the plow pulled that out. And so we're going to buy the culvert, and Hagar said they'd put it in at no cost, acknowledging that, it wasn't a properly cited culvert. It was proud of the road. And so we're going to work to split the difference there on that.
okay. That's fair.
Okay.
Yeah. That's nice. Good of them. So. All right.
The other day coming down Hodgson Street, we were going to be doing the work. There looked like there was a pool in that person's yard.
Mm.
Did you see that?
Mm-mm.
Seriously, it could have been a swimming pool.
That during a rain event we had?
Yes, and but there was a big digger. I don't know what it's called.
Excavator or something. like that, that's
Excavator,
fair.
yes, in the yard.
Mhm.
And I don't know if they were doing the work or we had started doing the work,
Not started.
but there was seriously a swimming pool out there.
Mm.
So I don't know what's happening as far as water goes there. So something.
Yeah. How, progress on that looking okay as far as timeline? on
Yeah, I
Hodgson?
think I checked in with the contractor. I mean, we had our meeting with CBDG. We got to get a sign, some other things done, but I think they're looking maybe in August probably for that. They can carve out a week's worth of time. They can probably get the majority of it done
Yeah.
in
Great.
that time frame.
Okay.
So barring any surprises anyway.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah. Well, it's nice seeing, I mean, a lot of these projects have been in the works for a while, and it's just really nice seeing them come to fruition.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah, there's a lot of them.
Not a hard date, but that's kind of what they're thinking
Yeah.
of aiming for.
moving in the right direction. That counts for something. So.
And when do we start making our new list?
Well, it's continual. I mean,
Yeah, go through. Yeah, reality is we tend to do like a one big, work plan update, but
Yeah.
anything can be added anytime, but it's always nice to we do a workshop and kind of update it and kind of go from there. And, but there's some things that are going to be checked off on there. Some big
Right.
things that gonna be like, tick, 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 we're good.
So- And this year's
Yeah.
this year's budget process, with the capital improvement or capital reserves, I tried to present, kind of a 5-year outlook for each of those reserves. And in some cases, it shows some road work. The Road Public Works Committee drives at least once a year to look at kind of what a work plan, priority needs, including paving work. So there's a couple. Lesnar Road, I know for me is one that I think we need to probably make a next big top priority in terms of bigger scale project.
Mhm.
And it's got some culverts through there. I think most of them need to be replaced. Looking at those, and the road's starting to lose its profile, so we're probably looking at reclaiming a good chunk of it. So I think that's one that we got a lot of tree clearing to do through there and kind of opening up the canopy and
growing the canopy right on.
I see that as it's about 1.5 miles, I believe, from the Biskie Road to town line there. So pretty good chunk of road.
I was up in Belfast the other day, and I noticed on the streets that they have a bike lane, and then they have a little bit of extra tar to the left of that or to the right of it, depending on which way you're going, and for walking. And it didn't seem to take up a lot of space, but it marked an area that, for bicycles. It was like 2 white lines, and you're supposed to go in the middle. I'm wondering how many cases in town that we could try something like that, how much width we have, or, what right of way on the sides of the roads
Mhm.
without getting into, eminent domain or anything.
Yeah, I think the state aid roads are probably your best bet to focus on. We just did Egypt and Belvedere and didn't include it, so those will be a while off probably before we look at that.
Yeah, but they're
Um,
more rural. I'm talking, this is like in the downtown area or
Oh,
near
downtown.
A lot of
near downtown.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Yeah, I see that a lot more now where towns are like, I talked to a citizen this morning about that, where you see a lot of main streets that are sacrificing on-street parking,
Hmm.
and they're putting in a multi-use lane, but you have to take out a good section of parking there and stuff. So I wasn't, I wasn't promoting that. Yeah. So there's areas, and it comes down to, what you have for overall width.
I would think that a lot of the people who may be affected in terms of their land would be in favor of it. I mean, it's not land that they're actually using anyway, 3 or 4 feet in front of their, bordering the street.
Yeah.
I would think-
Depends on the road.
I think they'd support it.
Yeah, and that's been, to that point, Tom, that's been a kind of a conundrum over the years with the upper section, we'll call it, of Bristol Road, or 129 going up through there, because it narrows down. And the question comes up a lot. You hear it in the town office of when's the road getting fixed and when on the side, but we have nothing to do with it. But the reality is the state has to take, it's narrow through there.
Yeah.
And in order for them to extend sidewalks or completely ditch it, I mean, they're going to be cutting into folks' property, and that never doesn't always go well. So,
Well,
yeah,
it doesn't hurt to ask.
yeah. But
And I don't know
think
if like Bristol Road is even on the DOT's list of upgrading to having a bike lane.
It's on their list for some drainage work this summer and then light capital pave next summer.
next summer. Yeah.
I did ask the question about, because they are working on, DOT is working on a program when they do light capital pave to extend paved shoulders in areas, because usually it's just pretty much just the travel way.
Mhm.
And so where they can get it, they're looking at, kind of adding to that program. I did ask if it was possible still to think about that for next year, because especially because when you hit the Bristol town line, it does widen out again with
it's
a
nice.
paved
Yeah,
shoulder. So,
yeah.
I mean, it's not a 3 foot on each side, which they a minimum of what they aim for, but it's more than what we have.
yeah.
And so they
Mhm.
said that it won't be possible to do that in the time frame for next year's work. By the time they do right of way research and acquisition, they usually figure a year for right of way acquisition.
Sure. Yeah, it's time consuming. No.
And
So
so
they're going to be working on that walkway between Biscay Road and the school, right?
Mhm.
And they're going to put a sidewalk in there.
Yeah.
Be an opportune time to interface with them and talk to them about it.
Yeah, we'll see what they have on there. Yeah, that's been an area, especially that section of 129 that's been something that's come up for years and years. They've talked about it, but it's problematic. At the very least, it'd be nice to do some shoulder work and shore it up. It's a little rough down through there. All right. What else do you have, Andy, on?
just an update, had a call this morning, in a heads up that there might be some asphalt available, from another job that Hager was completing. They were doing a state job, and it had rained in that area, and the state inspector had turned them around and said they weren't going to put it down there. So called me and asked if we had a place that if they couldn't, they were going to wait for it to see if they could get the road to dry and be able to get a go ahead green light to do it. But in the meantime, if there's a place that you think you could take it, let me know. So it was about 150 tons. It ended up being a 5th truck.
Was it 150?
It was 5 trucks, and it was 4 originally. There was a 5th one that they had gotten. So I started looking at road lengths and what we could do as an overlay on which ones we were looking at. And I was hoping, immediately thought of Pleasant and then Hodgson, if you turn right out of Pleasant and go back towards the church, and that would have been a good length.
Mhm.
But there's a lot of infrastructure there that we wouldn't have had time to raise and deal with catch basins, valve covers, and that kind of thing. So Rocky Run was another one that was on my list on the work list that we should look at. And there was no infrastructure out there, or no structures in the middle of the road anyways, other than the culverts running under it. So it was the perfect length, and they were able to get right from Egypt, where we had just paved, out to Bristol Road. They offered the asphalt at cost, so it was $80 a ton, about 12 grand worth of asphalt work. And so we were able to extend the surface of that road for hopefully another 5 to 7 years before we need to get in there again, because it was starting to get pretty bad. So
That's
Good
great.
deal.
it is just an overlay. It was about between 3/4 of an inch and an inch, depending on there, to try and play with the length and the material there. But we did do that today. Just
So
as a
they
heads
used
up.
the 180,
150. Yeah.
150, they used it. Okay.
For full transparency, I did I did speak for the board this morning because it was a time sensitive endeavor. So indeed reached out to myself and Public Works Committee. We quickly discussed the Pleasant Street area, but it was Josh had brought it to our attention that there is some infrastructure there and that would have been an ideal spot, but it's too complicated and the time frame was very, very narrow. So
Sure.
so it worked out well, and we're well within the budget and whatnot. You found where you can get it, and
Yeah, I was kind of keeping an eye on as we're in June now, where we are with operating budgets and looking at the highway. I was already starting to work this out and look and including this expenditure today, trying to forecast or foreshadow what we're gonna still spend on stuff. It still leaves us with about a $10,000 unspent
Cushion after
cushion to
this.
work with.
Yeah.
So and again, that is anticipating other work that I know we need to do between now and the end of the year. So
Well, you made the right call.
Yes.
It's economic.
yeah, it was a good. I mean, it was a good deal. So, yeah. Well, thank you for reaching out on that. So great. All right. That it, Andy?
that is all I have.
All right, I think this is pretty comprehensive. I don't have any questions on any capital public works, so we can move on, do some official action items this evening if you'd like. We had, there was a couple of cemetery deed, perpetual care and maintenance contracts that were presented in the packet. Everybody get a chance to look at those anyway. So I'll, if it's all set, okay with the board, I'll make a motion to approve and issue the cemetery deeds and perpetual care and maintenance contracts as presented.
Second.
Tom seconds. Any discussion? All those in favor? All right, motion carries. There was a catering function. Shoot, I have that right in front of me there. That one's gonna be where that's at. Yeah, I know, DRA still. I know, I'll do the same things. DRA Coastal Rivers Conservation Trust at Round Top Farm. Yeah, no. We've called it DRA for so long. It's hard to.
Yeah.
Old habits. So, anybody want to take that motion?
Make a motion to approve the application for catering
Yep, one for Stone Cove. All
for
right.
Stone Cove for
Awesome.
Second.
Thank you, Andrea. Lou seconds. Any discussion? All those in favor? Motion carries. And if you want to just brief us real quick, these are quick claim deeds. I think we discussed these back a little while ago, but do you have anything you want to add or any overview on those?
Wasn't a lot of discussion previously. We had so every year we assess taxes, commit taxes are due at a certain time, right? You lien it if you don't pay it, and we get to the point, unfortunately, sometimes where there is a foreclosure. And so we had two previously that the board considered, I think back in February, to kind of waive our interest in that foreclosure process. I mean, we still have the liens and still owe the money. It's just they were two trailers in a trailer park. So there was, a little more complication there with, being a tenant now in someone else's place. So there were also two other accounts that were foreclosed. One was a property along Pemaquid Pond, and the other one on Egypt Road was a trailer on a lot. It was a parent's property, and so sent the notices out. One of them was signed for, the other one wasn't actually, but it was the same property owner in this case. And Cheryl followed up afterwards just a couple weeks ago and said, what's the plan? Do you want to try and present to the town and work something out? I think my understanding is in the past, and a lot of towns try and work something out with the previous owner. And so in doing so, they followed up pretty quickly once they got the letter, and came in and paid for those accounts. So at this point, those accounts are paid. The only additional cost, I believe, will be for filing
The filing and the deed transfer stuff. Okay.
the deed. Yeah.
Yep.
So presenting in the packet, sorry, I didn't get it to you till today, but the quick claim deeds, Cheryl
Pretty
had
straightforward.
drafted, if the board's so inclined to accept those payments in full with the condition that they pay any additional fees for filing the deed.
Sounds good. Lou, you making a motion?
I make a motion.
Second.
What's his motion?
What's the motion?
Well.
That we
I got it right there. if you want.
Okay.
It's, yeah,
To issue the quitclaim deeds as presented on the condition that the recipient pay the cost of completing the deed transfer process.
all right. Who made a motion? Tom, you gonna second?
Yeah.
Tom seconds. Any discussion? All those in favor? Motion carries, so. Yeah, you made a good point, and historically, it's, we're trying to work with folks as much as you can and hope that they can work something out and. Exactly, this is seems like a case where that worked.
I like to think people don't think local government's taxing so we can eventually take your property.
Yeah,
That's not
we
the
don't,
case.
no,
We don't.
absolutely
do
not.
that,
I don't want to do that.
So it's
Yeah,
nice when it can work out, whatever caused it to come to that, and at least we were able to work it out.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
The person involved, it was some kind of, what was it?
So great. All right, well, that it? Done that, so we'll start with selectmen's discussion items. Tom, if you've got anything down your end, we'll.
Yeah, I know I'm a broken record about this aquaculture thing, but I want to clarify a couple of things. First of all, I'm all about aquaculture. I mean, I love oysters. I don't want to impact the economic advantage that it offers the community. But what I'm trying to accomplish as an agent for the board is to look at ways that we can balance all of the uses of the river so that we don't overdo it and create, subsequent problems where it's too concentrated in one area that impacts other things going on. But in any case, the flip side of any concern people might have about the use of the word moratorium, which is not even relevant anymore, is that when you Google what town is the oyster capital of Maine, Damariscotta comes up. So
Mhm.
if you type that in tonight, when you go home,
Mhm.
you'll see that Damariscotta is the oyster capital of Maine.
Yeah.
And somebody had mentioned to me about putting a sign up about, Damariscotta up on the highway where you have all the other signs,
Yeah,
and
Yeah.
maybe saying something like, welcome to the oyster capital of Maine, Damariscotta, or
I
something
don't
like
think
that.
we need any more people.
You don't need any more what?
People.
Well, some of the
They
businesses,
pay the
might-
bills.
some of the businesses might disagree.
There's traffic already?
I have, I just.
Yeah.
Yep.
Well, anyway, it's just a thought. I had come up with a little design. I forgot to bring it tonight. I was gonna hand it out, but just.
Yeah, we have the Newcastle, Twin Villages sign up there. You can come down into the.
Yeah,
For
but
that,
I mean,
on the
the
highway.
fact is,
Right,
when
yeah.
you got it, you can flaunt it. Okay, so we are the oyster capital
Yeah.
of Maine.
Do
It's
some
not the
marketing.
United
Yeah.
States. I didn't go so far as to say what's the oyster capital of the United States, but I'll try that next time. But
Call it oyster capital of Maine. Yeah.
that's a big deal.
You agree back
There's
there?
No, there's a thing
big
called
deal.
the Oyster
It is,
Trail.
It is, yeah.
Okay, there's a thing called the Oyster Trail. If
Mhm.
you look it up, and if you look at the sign on the Oyster Trail, guess what? The arrow is right at the top of the Damariscotta River.
Oh, neat.
Right.
Yeah,
So there's a map that's put into an oyster shell,
yeah.
but the spot on the map is where Damariscotta would be.
That's awesome. Wow. Yeah,
So some way we ought to try to capitalize on that.
yeah. Okay. Well, I know you're talking to a lot of folks and getting some ideas.
Well, yeah, we're gonna try to get a meeting together this fall. It's a little bit like herding cats.
Yeah, well, there's a lot of entities
Well,
involved,
for
so
the
it's great. Yeah.
comprehensive plan, what are they doing on the Natural Resource Committee?
Well, they're considering, it's a smaller part of the whole thing that they're doing there.
Okay.
There's other things going on, but like parks and things like that, but
There's also a marine resources chapter within.
Right.
that.
yeah.
Gotcha.
I'm not on that committee, so I don't know exactly what they're doing.
So you're not on
Uh,
that
They
committee.
will be invited to when we get the big meeting together. There's a lot of people that want to attend.
Oh, yeah, no, that's good.
Yeah.
Good, yeah.
I
I
would
have
say,
to find
there's
a large room for it, I'll tell you.
I agree. There should be.
Yeah.
It's a huge
I-
industry.
Yeah, I mean,
interesting.
even I gotta say that some of the oyster farmers or aquaculture people are also concerned about the concentration. So some of those people are on the same page, if you will, about concentration. So I'm sure the people that are trying to apply to get in there are not in that view, but the people that are already there, I mean, the boats are racing around there a lot and they're stirring up, the silt, and there's gonna be impacts if it keeps up.
Absolutely.
It'll be good to, I say, I don't know enough about, be interested to, when you get a meeting together, we can,
Yeah,
I'm sure we'll all
absolutely.
learn a lot and
Yeah.
it'd be great to hear from everybody. So.
It's
Great.
gonna be
Yeah.
really important for the future of how much,
Too much of a good thing can be a bad thing, you know?
well, protecting what we have
Exactly,
and then still having the leisure on the river
Right.
has to somehow
right.
find a happy medium.
Yeah, no, like I say, everything's a
That's what it is.
balance. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's about-
So, and I think everybody's looking for sustainability in all their
They
regions.
don't want
so
to
it's
kill the
balancing
golden
that out.
goose.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. So-
Absolutely.
Okay. Thank you, Tom. Yeah. Lou?
Just make sure everybody gets out and votes.
Mhm.
This next week.
Absolutely,
Yeah.
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 Especially for these two gentlemen right here.
And-
yeah.
No, so,
Andrea?
I'm tabling.
Nothing?
No, I'm,
All right.
I'm tabling for voting to get people to sign up for the survey.
Yeah.
Because we need people to sign up for that survey.
What survey?
For the town, for,
Comprehensive plan.
You sell it, the comprehensive plan survey?
yeah.
Yeah.
Yes, thank you.
For those that are listening.
Yeah.
Yes,
Yeah.
for those that are
For the
listening.
comp plan survey.
Yeah, so we're
yeah.
gonna have, because some people we have spoken with have trouble getting online and filling it out. So we are going to have paper ones available for people
Oh, interesting. Okay.
to give them, because we really want the input of people
Yeah.
Sure.
for the comprehensive plan.
Yeah.
It's seriously important, and we've gotten some good feedback already, which is great. I went to a meeting with the Lincoln County people on housing. That was a very interesting meeting. And obviously it became very clear that we are desperately in need of housing. And they broke it down even into all the different cities, villages in Lincoln County, and how much they were hoping that each of these villages would make, build, provide somehow, according to the population and the growth and what's needed. And they had, I don't know, did you read it, Andy, or listen to it?
Skimmed through a good chunk of the report. Wasn't able to join the live meeting.
The good thing about it was they had all this information that was fabulous, but then they also had solutions. So it was really, I thought they did a good job. Yeah.
Interesting.
And now,
Is that still out there on the internet
Oh, yeah.
somewhere?
it is.
Yeah.
Yep.
How would I find it?
We could
Did we
email it
post
to
it
you.
on the town? Did we post it on the town?
No, I'm sure we probably have not.
Well, you have it.
Mhm.
And you can put it
Yeah,
on.
if you
Can
could
email
send
it
it
to the
out.
board.
Yeah.
I
that'd be
think
great.
we should.
Yeah.
Yes, because it's really worth looking at. And because I'm on the housing committee, I'm of course very interested, and you've all heard me say we don't have enough housing, we
Yeah.
don't have enough housing. And this looks at, that we need a combination of new homes, we need a combination of apartment buildings, and I don't know, even trailer parks. I mean, we just have to have ways for people to live so that we can have people in our workforce that are not commuting.
You have to have a balance of different, different lifestyles, different income levels. So there's a lot of moving parts to it.
We
Yeah.
employ a lot of people
Mhm.
here between our local retail businesses and Miles, and we're putting in that new nursing home. That's gonna have how many people that are going to have to come and work here? And we would probably rather have them living here than commuting from who knows where. I don't know. But anyway, that
Great.
was
Okay.
good, it was good.
Awesome. Thank you, Andrew. I have 2 quick points, to echo Lou, about voting. The, annual town, meetings coming up, and we'd love to see a full house. Haven't had a great turnout in the last few years, but, the more folks, the better. Really like to see community involvement, and, it's a considerably large municipal budget, and I'd like to have some folks show up. That'd be great. And then, my other point, I think we touched on it earlier, is just, yeah, there's a lot of traffic, a lot of folks coming in town. There's a lot of people moving around. We've had unfortunately, some incidents lately. Just, everybody be careful and slow down and watch what you're doing. We want to have a nice, safe spring and safe summer. So that's all I've
Yeah,
got.
not to rub it in, but there's been some close calls because people don't even know where the crosswalks are.
It's bad.
The-
It's
you know,
really bad.
visitors, they don't know where they are, so they're walking right in the middle of the street.
Yeah.
A lot of
it
speed
is
related
bad.
stuff. So, okay.
Just as an aside, I wanted to compliment, oh my gosh, now I'm not going to remember his name, but he's on the comprehensive planning board for, there's a young man in our town that made the posters and he put them up all over town to get people to sign up for the survey.
Mm,
And they were
okay.
really, really nicely done.
Nice.
I'm
Oh.
really embarrassed that I don't remember his name.
I forgive people all the time, Andrew.
But I do want to say that they are getting, they're trying to get people's attention to get involved in our village.
Yeah.
People need to have a voice. Well, they need to voice their opinions.
Well, good avenues to get involved. Yeah. And you just want people to, can't do much without input. So
No,
nice
you
to get
can't.
folks involved and whatnot. So great. No, thank you for keeping up on that. So.
Just follow up on the town meeting. So 2-day town meeting.
Mhm.
Next Tuesday is voting at the polls for elected officials and the articles that we talked about at the last meeting with the public hearing on the provider agencies. One of those provider agency articles did have a typo.
Oh.
And we all missed it. I don't know how many times we reviewed it. It didn't have it as hardy roots. Having it
Oh.
as healthy roots.
Oh,
Yeah.
you're right.
So
Oh,
it's an organization that did not apply for the funds. And so what we reached out to MMA just to understand what exactly we need to do. We thought we were sure you can't change it. The ballots are already out there. It's not something on the floor at town meeting that could be amended, which is the next night, Wednesday.
and we can't go
this is-
back and,
So the vote will continue as it is. And then once that results from that come in, we'll have kind of one of two ways we could continue that.
There's an avenue.
So we'll have to take
It
that up
doesn't
in
involve
July.
whiteout.
It does not involve whiteout. So we'll wait for the results to come in and then take it up in July at a board meeting.
Move what we
Another
need.
special town meeting to
Okay.
correct that. And then Wednesday is on the floor, the budget for the town, all the budget articles and the 15 or 20 others that go along with the operation of the government
Yeah.
will be on Wednesday at the school at 6.
Awesome.
So
Hopefully good turnout. Good turnout.
I hope so.
All right. There's no other business. I'll entertain a motion.
Make a motion, we adjourn.
Lou's made a motion to adjourn. Do I hear a second? Tom seconds. Any discussion?
I'll second.
All those in favor? We are so adjourned. All right, we do have stuff to sign, so if you want to start there, I'll do that.
All these.